want to help you not feel guilty when it's time for you to exit a relationship or a version of you kind of outgrows that relationship. And I'm going to use this sneaker, my sneaker, as an example, because I did this earlier on short form a couple days ago. And I was like, you know what? I really want to go more in depth for you guys on here. So when I got these sneakers, these are very old, and right now I just use them for the gym. But when they were their Boost, and you know, I loved them and they were brand new and I was able to run in them and they provided support. They were giving me an absolute benefit and enjoyed the relationship. Love the relationship we've had. The relationship has been beautiful. But there comes a point in time where some relationships, not every relationship, but some relationships will run their course. The use that both of you got out of the relationship is really no longer a thing. And by the way, this isn't just with friends or coworkers. This could be family too. This shoe is not exclusive to just one thing. This is a whole general thing. And right now, I'm finishing up probably working out in these like over the next like month, and then going into the new year, it'll be time to get a new pair of sneakers for the gym. But I've had these for a while and I use them for different things. I took them from where I was using them all the time to now just a little bit to just very individualized. This doesn't mean that when these sneakers go away, like when I repurpose or when I recycle these, it doesn't mean that I don't care for the sneaker. It just means that, you know what? It was a reason and a season. It's not a lifetime. You have to be okay with letting go of your sneakers. And obviously it's metaphoric, right? So it isn't just the sneaker. You have to understand that you are going to have a version of you. And I say this to everybody when we start working together. As you grow, you will outgrow people. It doesn't mean you're better than them. This is important because on the other side of that, people are going to outgrow you. That version of them is going to outgrow you. You know, think about this. When you were 20, a lot of times you don't still have those relationships. They served a purpose for what they were in that time. Your issue comes when you keep trying to hold on to these relationships. You keep wanting to wear those sneakers and get the same benefit out and the same supported system out of it. And it's not always meant to be. Doesn't matter that you want them. You could want things that really aren't that good for you. I would like to have 3 chocolate bars every single day of my life. Not really in my best interest. I do have a little piece of chocolate every day, okay? But not everything is going to serve you anymore. But you got to remember that just because you've outgrown the relationship, and it could be with a family member, it could be with a sibling, it could be with your mom, it could be with the guy down the street, it could be with anything, a spouse, adult children. But what you're trying to do is you keep trying to get the same thing out of it that you once got out of it, or you never got out of it and you just wanted it to be a good pair of sneakers. Because there's 2 things that happens there. Either you are holding on to it because you remember those good times when you're like, yeah, this is great. And you keep hoping to get that back. You're not going to get that back. Okay? You're not going to get that back. There comes a point in time, once it has run its course, it has run its course. And you got to be okay with that. All right, you don't have to love it. You can mourn it. You can be sad for it. But instead of that, embrace it for what it was. Maybe you learn lessons. Like there's certain things I love about that sneaker. And since then, I have a different pair of running sneakers that have different support, even better support. Sometimes you look at relationships and they served a great purpose, but they teach you, I liked these things. I didn't like those things. Let me think about that going forward. That's how we reevaluate our circumstances. That's how we reevaluate our relationships. All important factors for you. But the issue that you run into a lot of times is you fantasize and you remember how it was when you first started. People grow and they evolve. And this doesn't mean that I'm better than these sneakers. It just means that has served a purpose. I'm going to repurpose them. We have an outlet by me, and Nike has, even though those are Adidas, but Nike has like a thing. It's like a repurposing recycling center. And when you're in the store and you go and you drop any pairs of sneakers, not just Nike, and then they take it and then they recycle, right? They're going to make that maybe into more sneakers or maybe into something else or maybe into a ball. My point is it's going to still serve a purpose for somebody else. That somebody else may not just be me. And so a lot of times too, where you run into an issue is that you are upset because it doesn't benefit you. And then you think, well, wait, they're brand new for this person. Why is this person getting the best version of them? Different times. Again, let me flip that on you for a minute. You're going to be somebody's pair of sneakers. You are, right? And doesn't mean that you're less than, doesn't mean that you're not good enough, doesn't mean that somebody's better than you. That's not at all what it means. It just means that people are coming to your life and situation happens for a reason, a season, and a lifetime. And the lifetime thing is really just you. You're with yourself for a lifetime. So as you change and as you do things, make sure that the lifetime is you. The reason in the season, could be family, could be a spouse, could not be anything. You know what I mean? So the problem is that you keep trying to make things fit into how you wanted it to be, or you fell in love with how it is. And I just want you to realize that it's okay. And the versions of you get different. Like, how people say, I don't know if you've ever heard this, like on your growth journey, or you've started to establish boundaries or something, and they're like, you've changed. Yet you're supposed to change. Just because you're changing not the way they want you to change, or it no longer benefits them, doesn't mean it's wrong. All right? It's real important, because you have to keep that same mentality, because the same thing we want from other people, we have to remember that we have to also do the same. And if somebody has outgrown our relationship, we're allowed to mourn it. We're allowed to be sad. We're allowed to be upset about it. Don't try to force it, right? Because then you're just doing it out of obligation. And if I keep wearing those sneakers and I keep running in those sneakers, I don't run in them anymore, because the squishiness, like the boost, like after a while it wears down, right? So if I keep running in those shoes, I'm going to hurt myself. My knees are going to hurt. My feet are going to hurt. My back is going to hurt. I might have shin splints. I never used to have them, but that's because now that would no longer serve me. So I want you to think about that in your own relationships, because a lot of times when you're holding on to relationships, instead of just saying, okay, let me take the L and let me keep it moving. It's sad, but it's got to happen. It's actually causing more damage than it is good, even though it might have been once good. Is it a fun thing? No. Does it suck? Sure. But you got to accept it for what it is. And your adaptability factor is going to be really important. If you're not adaptable and you don't accept change for what it is, then it's going to be extremely problematic, right? Because then you're always going to be chasing something. You're always going to be disappointed. You're always going to be in this headspace of, I'm not good enough, or why isn't this working? And it once was. Stop fantasizing on how it was when these sneakers were brand new, or the relationships were brand new. It's not going to get brand new. I could go buy a new pair, but again, I've learned, and these were great. I mean, again, they're like a year and a half old. That's why they're just gym shoes. I just walk on the steps with them, and that's about it. The last place I'll put those would be like outside sneakers, like if I'm cutting the grass, or because I don't really care. You don't want to have nice shoes for that. And then they go right to the retirement center. That too, the recycling center. And sometimes that's what you have to do, is you have to retire some of these relationships. I don't care if you want them. I just told you, just because you want things doesn't always mean it's going to be in your best good and your best interest. So I want you to keep that in mind. And I want you to ask yourself right now, are there some relationships that maybe I want it to be like it was, but it just isn't? And some relationships you don't have to keep trying to salvage. Some great, work on it, love it, communicate. Not all sneakers need to be brand new again. Not all things need to be recycled. So you accept it for what it is. You look and you say, what did I learn? And then you say, okay, what do I need to change? What would I like to do different? And then you accept it. And you'd be surprised. You open up your space for so many more things that are even better for you. And be okay with understanding that everybody's going to be somebody's sneakers. And it is what it is. It doesn't mean that you're not good enough. It just means that that time and that season has come to a close.